how's everything? Good morning, grandmother. So are we ready to get ready? Okay.
Good morning, Boopsie, honey, wash day, my baby. Henry, hurry. Okay, 1 second, he'll be right here.
I love you. See you later.
Shinnecock Nation is a small tribe. On the reservation, 500 people or so. And we're surrounded by the wealthy folks who are living on our land. As Native people, you feel a responsibility to your ancestral territory, to protect the land as much as we can. It's nearly impossible in this day and age, but we're still gonna do the best we can.
We're a maritime community. People are coming here with large amounts of money. The conflict now is over development.
More often than not, I hardly recognize this place I call home.
In the last 10 years, we've lost right-of-ways to the bay.
This property was transferred from the town without the town board understanding this agreement.
You watch what happens with all this preserved land. They're going to be encroaching on it. They're going to be putting driveways through it.
That guy down there changed that place into his Hamptons, and you took our Hamptons.
But I don't feel so alone today. I feel what the farmers are feeling. I feel what the people are feeling. And we're gonna do something about this. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful today. Oh, little blue jay. No, that's a woodpecker. What is that? These are mostly clamshells. We are at Conscience Point. This is where our Shinnecock ancestors met the first Europeans, pilgrims. Some people say, you know, oh, well, my family's been here for 4, 5, 6 generations. Well, we've been here 400 generations plus. As far as land was, it was just a total different way of thinking. Like to own your land, we're just caretakers. I love this spot because it is beautiful and it is preserved land over there, but it's a good place to commune with the ancestors and let them know how much we honor and respect and care for them and try to be good people and think about them. For at least the last century, the Hamptons has been a spot for the wealthy to get away from the hustle and bustle. They can drive their limousines right past this indigenous community and not even know that we exist.
We're a small community. We're finite in this greater community of the Hamptons. The land base that we have here is approximately 1,200 acres. This is a small piece of our original territory. Our original territory extended from the East Hampton town line all the way to the Brookhaven town line. One of the first things that we did as a people in 1640, when the first settlers arrived, is we gave them 8 square miles of land to use, which is now current day Southampton Village. And we've paid the price for it ever since. Here we sit, you know, in the middle of lifestyles of the rich and famous, and yet 60% of our people in our community are below the poverty level. That's a problem.
You know, Modell's shopping stores. That's Modell's house. It's funny, the people that live out here. You see this house right here? House on an acre? That's $8 million right there. That huge house back there, I sold to a 29-year-old 10 years ago for $15 million. The owner of Coach just built that house. He paid $25 million for the land, right there. And a farmer sold it that owned it for hundreds of years. It's a crazy place. Almost everybody who's successful financially in New York, they want to be here. So when you have a lot of people chasing not that much property, it just keeps going up. But there's something about it out here that they all want to come. I just happened to enter real estate in 1996, and I call it the best 20 years in real estate in 10,000 years. We were selling $18 million houses in 06 and 07 to hedge fund managers like they were candy. Being a finance guy, I like to turn things quickly. I call it the velocity of money. The big complaint out here is overdevelopment. And I agree with them. But people are going to continue to want homes and buy homes. Doesn't the next generation deserve the house, pool, and tennis in the Hamptons? I mean, that's how I see it.
This is a very unique area. Besides having a population of close to 60,000, that's a year-round population. In the summer months, it quadruples. And it's very culturally diverse and economically diverse. We have some of the wealthiest people on the planet, heads of multinational corporations, the 1% of the 1%ers. Then we also have very modest people who work 2 or 3 jobs to deal with the high costs of living here. So the disparity between rich and poor is probably no greater anywhere else than right here in the town of Southampton. And of course that makes things complicated because you have to serve and protect all people.
All right, see you guys later. We're going to go over to where the fish usually show up in the early season. What I do catch, I eat myself. I also give it to people for free of charge up here on the reservation. I do the same thing with hunting. You know, I shoot a couple deer, I shoot a few ducks. I give them away to people here on the reservation. People like it, you know. My dad taught me that. One of our traditional ways at the end of a prayer or at the end of a ceremony, we say Wame Natampiog, which means all of my relations. And when you're saying all of my relations, you're acknowledging the connection, not just between your immediate family, but you're acknowledging the connection you have to everything, all of creation. And that what you do with one thing affects the other thing. There's actually different kinds of fish than there were when I was a kid. And I was out there right in front of Calvin Klein's house, actually, and I pulled up a sand shark, and the boat right next to me pulled up a sand shark, too. And he was like, I've never seen a sand shark in Hetty Creek. I was like, me either. Yeah. Our reservation is a peninsula, and on the east side is Hetty Creek, and half of Hetty Creek, and just in 2015, got shut down for shellfish. And that's just because of runoff from all the houses, the golf course, things like that. For the most part, what you see in all of the Hamptons are assets. You know, they don't actually really live there for the most part. In the summertime, they come out here to vacation, but for the most part, they're assets. If they were there year-round, there'd be a lot more pollution. It is detrimental to our health here and economy on Shinnecock. You know, so our biggest thing is that we have to continue to protect our front line.
We're not doing good here. Hunting and fishing to near extinction of everything. It happens so fast. There's barely any more scallops left. We had a tribal oyster hatchery for a while, but that closed down, unfortunately. So there's no tribal shellfish business like they do on the outside. We're just back to sustenance living. You know, go out, get some clams, some mussels, scallops for our own supper. fish to eat, you know, for the week or so.
I absolutely, unequivocally see a correlation between the overdevelopment and especially our waterways. We are people of the shore. Our livelihood over the course of time has been derived from the waters. We as whalers basically established the economy out here in selling whale oil for the street lamps and things like that.
We have to live here together, and it's not getting any better, it's getting worse. The groundwater pollution, the contamination of the pesticides, because your lawn has to be spotless and bright green and unnatural, and the chemicals, everything that's polluting this earth, and we're drinking it, and people are dying of cancer left and right. Can't you see? It's got to stop.
Since 1640, there were all these different disputes about land. People challenging whether their land was theirs, whether they had the right to graze there. The town of Southampton approached the tribe and said, okay, this is how we're going to try to resolve this. We will give to the tribe a lease for 1,000 years. And that includes the lands for where we live now, Shinnecock Neck, the Shinnecock Hills. We were able to hold this lease, and then the tribe would sublease to farmers and other people and still be able to use our own land. That's how we were able to get a lot of our basic needs met.
We were given a lease for 3,000 plus acres. That was whittled away until 1859. 1859, the robber barons, the railroad people, wanted to build the railroad line from Manhattan out to Montauk. And in blatant disregard for the Non-Intercourse Act, which said that no state, no town, no village, no farmer could take land from an Indian or an Indian tribe without an act of Congress. Well, New York State, they had 20 signatures supposedly giving the land to the state. Well, 10 of those signatures were people that were dead. They had gone and got names off of headstones. The other 10 were not Shinnecock. This is what they put before the judge. They got the land, and our people from that next day when we found out about it proceeded to fight for it. But we as Indian people were not considered citizens, so they would not allow us to take this into court. This land was stolen from us, flat out, no questions, hands down, stolen. Now what sits on the acreage is some of the most prestigious golf courses in the world. You have a national golf course, you have a brand new one, Sabonic Golf Course. You have Shinnecock Hills, which will be hosting the US Open. And you have a multitude of multi-million-dollar homes that sit in what was once our sacred Shinnecock Hills.
Property under video surveillance. This is the Shinnecock Hills Golf Course. This is a sacred place to us, and it was a long time ago, and it still is. We can come here, but still we're on the outside. We're not allowed in here. We're not allowed any access to our sacred sites. They use our name for whatever they want. Their logo is a native chief with a headdress on. It's the in-your-face kind of, boldness. We know we have still to this day ancestors buried in this golf course, buried with respect and ceremony and love and honor. Shinnecock men were hired to help construct the golf course. Stories handed down to us say that they witnessed hundreds and hundreds of their ancestors' bones being desecrated during this construction and couldn't do anything about it. And to host the U.S. Gulf Open here, it's just a slap in the face.
What are you guys doing?
We're making a documentary.
Okay, well, it's all about
We're not trespassing you. This is none of your business right now, so goodbye. Goodbye. No, it isn't. This is public property. Goodbye. And I'm a Shinnecock Indian, so leave us alone. Goodbye. I don't care who you are either. We're on public property. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. This is, are you kidding me? Sure, go right ahead. Well, I'm not even on the golf course. I'm on the daggone shoulder of the road, and this guy is harassing me. Well, that's how the Parish Pond fight started. You know, we were on the shoulder of the road having our peaceful protest, and the New York State Police showed up with a chip on their shoulder. Someone told them that there was a bunch of Indians on the side of the road protesting the desecration of the land. We were well within our rights where we were standing. This is the Parish Pond development, 62 acres of beautiful, pristine land with some of the last of the marine plant life. Heathland, they call it. It's gone. It's now someone's lawn. It's gone forever. We are protecting our sovereign territory. Where's that not one more acre sign? You read that? I hope everybody here can read, because that's what we're here for. Not one more acre. Not one more acre. State police were just hollering and cursing at us. One in particular, after the bulldozers fired up their engines, he came from behind with all his might and pushed me into the middle of the road. We know that bones were dug up here and construction workers were instructed to put them in the dumpster.
When we ride through the Shinnecock Hills, you know, and you see what we consider the destruction of our land, you know, you hear about the Sioux and their famed, you know, Black Hills. Our Shinnecock Hills here held the same meaning, the same historic value that any of these other tribes around the country have held with their land. We've had several digs up in the hills there that have traced our lineage in this area back over 10,000 years.
Our ancestors would bury people on the hilltops. The villages that we would live on would be on the east side where the sun rises, and then the burials would be all facing west. And so the sunset can bring them into the spirit world.
Did you have fun on the playground? Did you go to the playground or to the beach?
To the park.
Okay. One child sleeps on that couch, two sleep on this couch, I sleep on that bed. And when another grandson comes over, he sleeps like right here. He'll put the pillows down and sleep here. And then Nasha and her daughter sleep in one bedroom, and my mother sleeps in that bedroom. So we have to take care of each other. The housing situation doesn't get any better around here. And I mean, the oppression runs deep.
Every member of the Shinnecock Nation is a member of the town of Southampton. And so they're entitled to everything that any town resident would have. They certainly vote. They get permits to park on the beaches. They use all town facilities. There are tremendous things that members of the nation can take advantage of without paying any property taxes. But we do, have high-value properties that pay high taxes, that provide services, youth services, transportation services, park services, roads. The Shinnecock Nation, they benefit from all those things. The same things that I can take advantage of, and I pay property taxes.
We're obviously in a very strong fiscal position.
We're improving our roads, we're fixing drainage problems, we're addressing infrastructure, we're improving our parks that everybody enjoys. What happens when you do that? People want to live in a community like that.
What we've done is tremendous for the town. 400 homes we've built, and the average tax bill's got to be $30,000 on my homes. It's really helped keep up with the ever-growing budget. You know, the town needs the development to keep going. They'll never say that, but what would they do without it?
The Hamptons as a place of paradise and respite was something that, Walt Whitman wrote about and inspired a whole generation of artists to leave New York to go out. It became a place that symbolized nature. It symbolized this authenticity. As the bohemian, pioneers do in all forms of gentrification, the artists brought out the very rich people who saw this place for its natural beauty, but also as a place that they could put their mark on it. Very wealthy people from New York City went out and built these huge summer cottages, and it became kind of the place for the rich and famous to go. On the one hand, celebrating its naturalness, but also bringing in electric lights and bringing in the golf clubs and bringing in all the different trappings of their New York high society.
Hi, welcome back to Talk of the Town. I'm your host, Jay Schneiderman, and we are talking about the U.S. Open, the 118th U.S. Open. You have been here for 2 years planning this event.
We've been in the community for a while, but now it's real.
Well, we certainly like having you guys here. We try at the town level to be as accommodating as we can, and we recognize over $100 million in economic flow into the community.
Despite the bumper-to-bumper traffic and the hassle of getting to one of golf's premier tournaments played right here at Shinnecock Hills Golf Course in Southampton, it's estimated about 30,000 spectators will attend the week-long event, helping business boom in the area, including here at Melrose Pizza, where pies are flying out the door. And they are certainly happy to get a piece of the U.S. Open pie.
You guys sat right at the table with us in that last meeting, and I feel personally that you misled us. So as far as I'm concerned, you could have mentioned that then and said, well, we really have no need for overflow parking when Sachem Williams said to you all the people coming from the east could be parked on the res. You never mentioned that you had already established parking east. So, you can sit here and, try to spin it because that's what you do as a media person, but we still have to answer to the people. And the people right now didn't even want us to continue any negotiations. That was the sentiment in the meeting Wednesday.
Hey, Phil, hinge and hold, baby. Yeah, baby.
Don't even continue the negotiations. Like, let's just go out there and protest.
Aho, aho, aho. We'll be here probably from at least like 8 to 5 every day. Yeah. He said if we need anything, just let him know. Oh, we need our land back.
They're sitting on one of the most valuable pieces of land in the country. I don't know what's the right economic development direction for the Shinnecocks. It's really up to them. But they have opportunities to, the town is not standing in their way.
The Hamptons itself has become a brand. It's become a commodity. And one of the things that's buttressed the image of the Hamptons as the land of the rich and famous is the marketing to the rich and famous. That makes it even harder for people who are struggling. That makes it even harder for the people who are in the back room doing the dishes, or the people who are serving and being ignored, or the people who are cleaning the streets, or the people who are in places like the Shinnecock reservation, where you essentially have whatever cultural capital having quote unquote real Indians gives to a location, but without any knowledge of the history, struggle, and what those different locations actually mean.
We've seen more Porsches and Mercedes.
Thanks, Bri. Hi, how you doing?
All right, and you?
So I saw the signs and I wanted to see what was going on. So there are remains that are just...
Our ancestors are still buried there.
What do you think should be done for them to right or wrong? Like, what do you think?
Really? Give us our land back.
Yeah, you want the whole force back.
It would be nice if we got our
That would be
whole
nice. I don't think that actually
They can start with the reconstruction of the graves so that they don't play golf on the graves of our ancestors.
And it needs the acknowledgement to Shinnecock, the people, not Shinnecock, the golf course.
No, I know. I was really curious because I know there's millions and millions of dollars being made. Like, how can you write, or how would you want the right to... the wrong to be...
I just told you.
Yeah, to get back the land.
I just told you. Give us back.
Right, they probably won't.
Why is it fair to continue on committing this crime of stolen property? Just because you stole it 100 and so years ago doesn't mean the crime goes away. You take our land, you desecrate our graves, you play golf, you make gazillions of dollars. What is just and fair about that? Nothing. You got to start from square one.
Sorry. Yeah. I'm with you.
Okay, thank you.
You have the logo on your shirt.
Yeah, that's the real logo, not that fake Shinnecock Open logo. My grandmother was one of the matriarchs of our community. She was born in 1889. I think one of the things that she instilled in us, I had two uncles. They caddied. They used to caddy right over here at Shinnecock Hills. And every day that we rode on that golf course, she would say to us, "Little man, this is your land. This is our land. And you have to get this back for us. It's going to be your generation that does it." The land battle has been ongoing. From 1978, we started this battle, this fight for recognition and land. In the last 15 years, we finally had enough funding to really fight it in court.
So it was 2005 that we first officially filed our land claim.
They're claiming laches, and what laches says that, well, you waited too long. You didn't fight for it. And we're like, are you kidding?
We have a saying, we have to preserve our way of life for the next 7 generations. What that means is that we have to understand who we are. We have to understand our history. We have to be able to tell that to our children. There was a famous quote, "To save the man, you must kill the Indian." Meaning, not literally kill the person, but you have to kill the Indian spirit inside of them. You have to kill their way of life and turn them into a civilized person. It was actually illegal in the United States and Canada for Native Americans to practice our cultures, for us to hold ceremonies, for us to wear our traditional regalia. They would say that we couldn't have been worshiping God because we weren't Christian, so we must have been worshiping the devil. We were forced to assimilate to the colonized world. due to what I call institutionalized colonialism. A lot of our culture was lost. A lot of our history was lost.
There used to be a stockade downtown, and our people used to be put in that stockade if we were caught speaking our language.
The Hamptons has its own sense of its own history, and who gets to tell that history? There are two ways that people who kind of come to an area and conquer and settle an area try to both imprint their own identity on it and then naturalize it in a way as if they've always been there. The first way is to establish the aesthetic of their lives. They build buildings that look like the buildings that they're used to. But eventually you need to suggest that this always was. You start to look at the history and who gets to tell the history. You start to create a kind of historical sense that this has always been your place. And so if we're really going to have an accurate picture of history, whose voices aren't being portrayed in this and what do they add to the story?
The Southampton Town Board has made massive efforts to protect their colonial sites and their colonial cemeteries, their colonial old houses, but they don't make an effort to help us preserve our Native American sensitive sacred sites. They don't see it as the same.
The acquisition of lands of Romeo and Shinnecock Hills.
We have been before you many, many times and always have said the same thing. The goal is to preserve the 13 acres. Good afternoon. I am Rebecca Jr. and this is Nasha, my granddaughter. We're from the Shinnecock Indian Nation. I believe the town of Southampton needs a reminder that life did not begin in 1640 when the Pilgrims arrived on our shores from Europe. Native people lived on this land in harmony with nature for thousands and thousands of years before your arrival.
Public hearing number 5, to consider the acquisition of lands of Parish Pond.
The source of funding would be the Community Preservation Fund.
Those lots were historically sensitive, and what they're planning to do with it to preserve, does anybody know?
Today we're talking about preservation, primarily land preservation and the Community Preservation Fund.
When property transfers, the buyer pays 2% of the purchase price into a dedicated fund.
This 2% tax has been generating quite a bit of money.
In the town of Southampton alone, the fund has generated over $700 million, yes.
Right, wow, $700 million.
Yes. Shinnecocks do alert me to properties that they think are important. They will get involved, particularly for a subdivision on a property that they feel is important to explore preservation. It has to do with timing and persistence, and also with the Shinnecock tribe members educating landowners and helping them to understand why it's important.
We've been able to preserve, I think it's less than 20 acres of land, fighting tooth and nail, telling them these are graves, we have to protect them, this is sacred land, this is ancient burials. New York is one of 4 states in the whole country that don't have graves protection laws.
Walter Richards of Shelter Island speaks with awe about the discovery he unearthed on the grounds of his Osprey Road home, a mass grave containing the remains of Native American Indians, skeletal remains buried in fetal positions about 4 feet into the ground.
It's not too late and it's not over till it's over. There's not one foundation up there yet.
A horse barn was built over a massive grave site on private property. Despite the good intentions and the goodwill of individuals and town people, they went ahead and built it. If you have a known grave site, you have a known, it's on county land or public land, there are laws, there are rules and regulations in place to protect those sites. But if they're on private land, then it's a different story.
Everybody watches Discovery Channel. We thought this was something that, was going to be really neat and be able to uncover. We had a really good time uncovering it and looking at everything and studying it. It was really exciting. We thought it would be in the best interest of the remains to be encased within the 4 walls of our structure and basically preserved forever. which when you get into the whole, which that's when things went awry, because we didn't know that their belief system was not similar to our belief system where we bury people in concrete vaults all the time.
Don't imagine how we feel. Imagine how you would feel if it were you.
Shelter Island prompted us to start writing legislation.
When these issues are brought to our attention, we address them like a fire drill. Seeing that, the Shinnecocks have proposed that there be a systematized approach to this, namely a Colonial and Native Americans Graves Preservation Act.
This draft has been with the Southampton Town Board probably since 2003. You know, archaeologists have helped over the past 13 years or so. Every time we go to the Southampton Town Board, okay, well, here's another draft. We'll have to run it by the attorney. We're probably on our 4th town supervisor.
George.
I think the real experts on this are sitting in front of you, the Shinnecocks.
Of course.
What you said to us and the follow-up phone calls is that it's in the attorney's hands. What has your attorney come up with in 4.5 years of reviewing this draft of graves protection?
There is a working draft, but it's been through at least 3 different attorneys.
We've been through many supervisors, many different board members, many different town attorneys, and everybody has the same story. Oh, we're looking into it and we'll, you know, pass it by the attorneys.
The people that buy the property don't know the property. They only see the value. I don't blame them for that. That's all we show them. Southampton Town needs to say, there's graves. If you find one, you're moving your house.
Okay, but I want to get you there legally, okay? And we've talked about this, and I know it's all cumbersome and complicated, and I'm asking my town attorney to please pay attention so that you can move it through the town attorney's office.
It's only complicated because you've never done it before. It's not complicated. This is very simple. If you want it done, you do it. And anyone who buys property here, that is part of the gamble they take when they buy a piece of property in the town of Southampton. And it can be done at your next meeting.
Well, if it's that simple, we will try it, but I'm telling you, I don't think it's that simple.
Now, on private property, there's a law that you can't bury a person. I don't see how it's so hard to have a law that says that you can't dig up a person.
Yeah.
Some things are as simple as that, they really are.
We're not going to settle for this each and every single time a grave is unearthed.
So within a month, we're going to regroup. We're going to give our town attorney some time. We will get back to you, and Becky, you're our main point person for heading up the task force.
A number of you have come to approach the Board of Native American Graves Burial Site Protection.
If we all could just, that's fine. We're on our 4th supervisor since 2003, and we have not really gotten too much anywhere.
You're saying the owner's rights are over yours, is that presently, and you're looking?
Yes, over the rights of the desecration of the grave.
Do we have a committee for relationships between the Shinnecock Nation and the town?
No.
Right. Probably is a good idea. Whether it would meet twice a year or something like that, I don't know.
I don't either, but in order for us to accomplish certain things, we have to kind of keep it separate.
And I just want to make sure, today you're speaking as a representative of the Shinnecock Nation or as an individual?
I am on the Shinnecock Archaeological Advisory Committee, the interdiet, so I don't know what you're asking.
I just want to know if this is...
Plus, I am general counsel.
Your position today, is it an official position of the Shinnecock Nation? Or is it an individual position?
An official representative of the Shinnecock Archaeological Advisory Committee, and I'm no stranger. Maybe to you all because I predate. I don't really remember anybody's face.
So I just want to make sure you're speaking on behalf of the nation.
And I have been since 2003, and it's in black and white right in front of you. Okay, thank you.
We think a simple procedure to protect these inadvertent discoveries.
You know what my fear is, right?
I know what it is.
That a developer, developers are good people, but that if we make the process too onerous that they're not going to tell us. They simply pretend they never saw it. And so we have to make sure.
Okay, but there are remedies for that, all right? If you dig up wetlands, don't you have a remedy for that?
Yes, yeah, that's what I.
Okay, so if you dig up a place where there are certain fish that are protected or certain trees that are protected, don't you have a remedy? And it includes potential criminal prosecution, right? Or potential violation or withdrawal of your permit. There are penalties for all of this misbehavior. Now, we want people to do the right thing, but when they don't, there's a consequence to misbehavior.
And it's that the fear is that graves are being encountered when homes are being excavated.
Oh, we know that. We absolutely know that.
And no one's being notified.
No one's being notified.
Not even the ME.
Not even the ME.
Yeah.
Paige, can you go hand me her belt, please? Give me 5, give me 10. There we go. Turn this way, let me see.
You out. You coming back with more? Chief Little Fox, you're in the same space. Okay. All right.
My grandfather was one of the co-founders who began the powwow. He had a vision that it was going to bring the people together.
From Nassau County to Suffolk, where a grim discovery happened in the Hamptons. Human remains found at a construction site in Shinnecock Hills. Now, the remains were taken to the office of the Suffolk County Medical Examiner.
He became very defensive when we saw officers going down there with shovels and sifters. That was very offensive.
Yeah, they were treating it like a crime. They were treating it like a crime scene.
I didn't even want to pull it out because I'm afraid that I'm going to damage something.
I don't want to see it turn into a long thing that ultimately
Yes, as an archaeologically sensitive site, it could meet CPF. We don't know yet.
Construction is being halted in parts of Southampton this morning. The state's asking Southampton town to consult with members of the Shinnecock Indian Nation.
It's very hard to see what the profile is because it's all different because it's all been disturbed. So things are falling down on top of each other. I can't get a good look at what the soil even looks like. Charcoal down there falling out of the wall.
Yeah, it looks like it's charcoal.
Could have something to do with the burial.
Looks like it.
You could probably date do carbon 14 on the charcoal. Typically, you find fresh water, so
it's right here.
It's right there.
Shinnecock Bay was fresh water until the hurricane.
Members of the Shinnecock tribe in Southampton are fighting to protect the graves of their ancestors. Rebecca Genia tells me she believes the remains are likely 3 centuries old.
The Suffolk County homicide kept telling us we have to make sure it's not an MS-13 murder. So it was kind of like almost insulting from day one.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, thank you all for coming to our lands here at Shinnecock. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a situation going on right down the road from here. There is a piece of land that the remains of one of our ancestors was found.
The leadership of the Shinnecock Indian Nation feels very strongly that this piece of land should be returned to the tribe. We call upon you to stand with us.
I'll have relatives going around passing out flyers with that information to see how you can contribute.
Members of our Historic Preservation and Repatriations Committee has been trying to get them to put legislation and policy in place for incidents just like this and what transpired. So they're aware of the long history of us going at it with them. And so for me, it's really about sticking to your word.
We're here today to pray. So today we are going to ask that the ancestors please help us.
Thank you, Creator, for this land. Thank you for our ancestors. We pray today, Creator, that you can be with all of us however this goes. And I pray that our energy, our ancestors, feel strong and they feel honored and respected. I pray that any division that our tribes have, Creator, and this town has, and this government has, I pray that we can understand, Creator, that this is unhealthy for all of us.
Suffolk County Tax Map Number 900-232 to Lot 35.
If the town decides to buy this property today, it's a very historic time, you know, for our relationship between Shinnecock and Southampton.
We are concerned about our house on a private street, that we do not lose the value of our home.
We are doing our best. That's very difficult sometimes when your emotions are struck. We hope that we all can uphold our word.
Thank you for meeting with us when our tribal leadership has called for meetings. You know, this is not going to be the last time this happens. So I really hope that there are policies and protocols put in place for the next time.
Anyone else on the motion? I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Opposition? It is approved.
Clearly a win.
More to come. More to come.
We will acquire this property. It will be protected, and it's not going to stop here. So I felt a sense of like we had almost turned a corner, that this was part of a healing process.
No more accidental unearthing. There's no such thing. I do a jig, but my legs hurt. Our goal is to purchase every single vacant lot in the hills and protect for all time.
Okay. Okay. I like you. Whiskey hours. We'll be at the fire.
When people realize you take care of your ancestors, you take care of the earth, good things will happen. That's what I believe with my heart and soul.
Looking at the history of the Shinnecock struggle, it's their struggle that gives us a sense of what the future might look like. That it's their continued desire for dignity, for recognition, and for not even a return of the land to their ownership, but a return of the land to the spirit of their history, of collective ownership, of collaboration, of human survival and subsistence in a sustainable way with nature, that really is the vision for what a future world might look like.
My name is Rebecca Genia. I'm calling from the Shinnecock Reservation. The Graves Protection group here, we would like to have a work session meeting, get on the agenda so we can talk about the Graves Protection laws. We haven't accomplished that mission yet.